Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here from all over the world to Be Your Own Hero. I'm a stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer patient, been dealing with cancer since late 2020, early 2021, been doing absolutely phenomenal. And I am so excited to, in the future, near future, share some life-changing things in my life. I can't share them quite yet, but I will. And I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled to bring back my new friend, John Norad. And we shot part one, which we showed this past week. And today we're doing part two. And we'll be talking about some other things that John is so willing to share about his life experiences. And so we're really thankful about that. So please subscribe to the channel, make a comment in the comments section, uh, ring the notification bell so that you'll be notified about future videos. But at this time, I'd like to bring on John. Please reintroduce yourself and share a little bit about you, and then we'll get rocking and rolling on today's topics.
First of all, I want to say thank you, and I want to say hello to all the amazing people out there. Again, yeah, I'm John Norrid, retired Marine and cancer survivor, and amongst surviving other things. I'm great to be aboard, and I'm just honored. I'm really honored.
Awesome. Awesome, John. I am looking forward to this so much, and I think all of you will be very happy when you watch this video. And so we're going to continue on from last week, and what we want to touch on to begin with is the importance of resiliency in a cancer journey. So why don't you hit it off and share, let's start on this journey together.
Yeah, resiliency is one of those things where you know Webster basically they're defining it as it's just having that strength to overcome. You can handle anything. You can take anything. And coming from the Marine Corps background, I was an infantryman, what we call a grunt. And a grunt can take anything, right? So that kind of stuck with me too. And what I seen the most is, and what always touched me was, you have to have that resiliency if you're going to go down this journey, and you have that zest for life, and you want to live, and that part of that builds that resiliency. And then of course we talked about last week, building that tribe, connecting with people, that positive thinking, and all of that. And that stuff is great, but that resiliency is that thing inside of you, that drive that says, I'm going to survive no matter what. You throw me in a pool, I'm going to swim. You try to kill me, I'm going to smile at you. These are things where you're not going down without a fight. You're going to fight this thing tooth and nail, and no matter what, you're not quitting. You're ripping the rearview mirror off, and you're saying, I don't give any F's, and I'm pushing forward. I'm not looking back, and I'm going to bulldoze this. Now, it takes a lot to get to that, but again, it's about that mentality of getting yourself into that. You know, whether it's a lot of people, they have that talent, that it's in the back of your head, but some people, for whatever reason, they get comfortable, 9 to 5 jobs, families. I get it. And they're not putting those stresses, but you had those stresses. Whether you played sports at one time in your life, those that go running and stuff like that. There's that part where something in you makes you go that extra mile, makes you do that extra step, and even in your everyday life, you know. Remember back when you're courting your wife, or your significant other, your spouse, you always want that extra step to make sure that that this is the one, this person's the one. So it's the same thing. That's that resiliency. You're not going to quit no matter what, no matter what's thrown at you. You might take 10 steps forward and come back three, but you're going to take another 10, and you're just going to keep driving until you get to the top of the hill. Um, it's a skill set it takes time, but at the same time, everybody has it in them. You don't have to be a Marine. You don't have to be a Navy SEAL. You don't have to be an Army Ranger. This is the everyday Joe and Janes out there. You can be resilient. You just have to get that fight. You got to focus, meditate, mindfulness, getting into the scripture, taking care of your body, and every little thing you do, fight it. Fight every bit of it.
Okay, so a person is living their life doing the normal family thing and all that every day on the average. All of a sudden cancer comes, knocks on your door. How do you suggest people revive or resurrect or construct this resiliency in order to deal with cancer?
Well, it's a mindset, and I think it's funny. Cancer is a jerk. They're not going to come up and knock on your door. Cancer is going to kick your door in, and you're going to have to fight. You're getting down. This is go time, and it's a spark. It's one of those things where yes, you're used to doing things are comfortable, but we always have to be on guard when we have our family. When you're out and about with your family, there's dangers out there, and cancer. I have to look at it as no different. It's an enemy. It's going to try to hurt me. It's going to take me from the things that I love most, which are my family and my friends and my lifestyle. So I'm going to treat it as okay. That thing's going to kick in the door, and what am I going to do if something kicks in my door? I'm going to fight back. I'm going to defend my home. I'm going to defend my family. It's the same thing with cancer. So when you get that diagnosis, even though that's going to probably be one of the most significant and worst days of your life that you'll never forget, within 5 seconds of that, you got to tell yourself, I can do this. I got this. I don't care if it's stage 1, stage 4. What do they start? At that point, the doctor's voice should just be a murmur. You're not listening. Right now, you're just focusing on, okay, fine. I got cancer. Roger that. I'm going to beat this thing. I don't know how yet. You're going to probably have a million questions. You're probably going to be hesitant and scared out of your mind. But just focus and say, hey, not me. Not on my watch. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to fight this. And it's okay if you don't have to know how. You don't even have to have any of the answers. You just got to know that I'm going to put one foot in front of the other, and I'm not stopping. Whatever it takes, I'm going to beat this. And then the next step is like we talked about last week. That's when you go into that second phase. In order to build up that resiliency, you need to educate yourself. So you got to get out there and start educating. But again, be mindful that that can itself be a minefield. So find out the cancer patients that have been out there who've been fighting this for a while. Reach out to that community. They're going to have better answers. They're going to have the knowledge because they have the experience. They're living through it. We have this thing in the military where it's like, the most dangerous things in the world are a second lieutenant with a map and a lance corporal. So, you're not going to go to the second lieutenant and he's not going to stand there and say, well, in my experience, it's going to be that crusty old staff NCO that's going to be like, no, this is what we're going to do. So that experience and that education comes into play. So you're going to have to, your experience is going to come through going through the process, but your number one thing is you're not alone. And I'm not just talking family and friends. You just got a whole new family now. There are millions of us that are suffering with cancer. They're all out there and they're looking for answers and they're just in the same place. And when you look at the successful ones, what do they have? They have resiliency. They they have a lust for life. They have a zest. They have that. And you know what I'm talking about. You'll go in there and you just see that one patient and they got that spark in their eye and you're like, I want to learn from them. I want to know what their secret is. And it could be a lot of things. It could be religion. It could be education. It could be that they're a tough old bird and they ain't going down without a fight. So again, it's one of those things where you can do it. You have to educate yourself and you have to be strong. You have to build that inner strength. And you can build on that, whether it's faith through mindfulness, meditation, friendships. All of these things are going to help you in that journey. And that's just my 2 cents on it. That's what I think that's what you should do.
I think when a person is diagnosed with cancer, they have a lot of decisions that they have to make and a lot of things that they have to deal with. So when they get their diagnosis, people have a choice. Do I want to be open about it and public about it, or do I want to withdraw and keep to myself? What are your thoughts on that?
My first thought was I was I knew I was going to fight it. And I had that resiliency already checked off in the box. But I was very, very stoic and very quiet about it. It was something where I didn't want to go in there and talk to other people about it unless you were in a very tight circle, and where the unit I come from, we have our team, and that team, there's no secrets in that team, and so I have built my own team. I didn't want the world to know. I didn't want the whole world to know, because there are a lot of things that come with that. One is everybody wants to bring you advice, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a great thing, because we all know the people. You know what I'm talking about. Well, my brother's sister's cousin was diagnosed with this, and this is what they did. Well, I'm not your brother, sister, cousin. I'm John. I just got found out I got cancer, and I'm fighting it today. So it's a whole different mindset, and you have to go down that route and kind of figure it out on your own. But at the same time, you know, when that advice comes in, there's good advice and there's bad advice, and it's just a matter of trying to seek through that. Um, it's not going to be easy, but when cancer comes into your life, you have to make that choice of withdrawal. But I don't think it's a bad thing to withdraw at first. Like you said, kind of get your focus together. You got a lot of decisions to make. But thereafter, I realized that, why am I keeping it a secret? What do I have to hide? I do want people to understand that this is a fight of my life, and I want people that are close to me. It doesn't mean you have to go tell everybody. You don't have to be at a Walmart and say, hey, I have cancer. No, it's not about the sympathy check. And I don't want anybody's sympathy. I don't want anybody's story. I just, look, this is something I'm dealing with. And it's a personal preference. A lot of people take it as a private thing. And I understand that and respect that completely. But like I said last week, you cannot, under any circumstances, do this alone. So you have to build a tribe. You have to build a family. What better than someone who's going through it? You're going to be at the oncology office. You're going to be in the room with other people receiving treatment. Talk to them, reach out to them, see what their secret is. And maybe they don't. Maybe you can help them, and then you can learn from each other. But yeah, I think it's a personal preference. If you want to keep that to yourself, I understand. But at the same time, I got to a certain point where I was like, you know what? Yeah, I have it. Deal with it. Little tidbit of information is, it didn't help my dating life for some reason. I guess cancer is all of a sudden contagious, but whatever. I went with it.
Didn't expect that one.
Yeah. Well, again, you got to put that humor in there. Got to keep people laughing.
That's right. I mean, what I tell people when they come to me is I'm going to throw out things and I'm going to put it on the table, and you take whatever you feel you want to take. That's fine with me. I'm not going to run your cancer journey. I am a firm believer that a cancer journey is very personal, and each person should have the right to do what they want, make their own decisions. That's what I did, and that's what I'm going to continue to do, because that's what is best for me. And
Exactly.
I'm still here and I'm thriving. And so nobody can tell me that what I've done is wrong. I've had people try to tell me, and I tell them to go take a flying hike, because you don't know what you're talking about. And, you get, at some point, when things are working for you, you get a confidence that will help carry you through. And that's what's helped me, is the confidence that things are working, and that things are working very well. And it just is so elevating to feel that at a certain point in your journey. But when you first start a cancer journey, it is confusing. There's fear involved. There's unknown. There's all these uh, crazy emotions that uh, can really get to you. And so that's part of navigating this complex journey that we call cancer. And there's a lot to learn. There's a tremendous amount to learn. And I know the military has given you a great foundation to help you battle cancer. And so that's tremendous. And so that kind of segues us into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's something that, and you're smiling, is talking about injecting humor, and how that's helped you with your journey.
you would be surprised. And again, you have this whole culture. I know the cancer culture and all, cancel culture and all that. And a lot of people, they think, okay, laughing and laughter and humor, and then you put the word cancer in there, all of a sudden nobody wants to laugh. And I'm like, well, why not? Why can't we laugh about it? Why can't we make fun of it? I mean, I see these hilarious T-shirts that say "F cancer" on them. I thought that was funny and amazing and awesome and uplifting.
Hmm.
And so it's one of those things where you have to keep that sense of humor. You got and laughter is like the. I know it's an old cliche thing, but it is the greatest medicine. It got me through some of the hardest times. In the military, especially in the infantry, we have this thing where we have this very, very sarcastic, dark sense of humor. Like I remember just training ops. You're sitting in the rain. It's 37 degrees. It's raining. You're in the mud. You haven't ate. You're pushing hard. You're in the middle of some training area and nobody gives a crap. And you always got one guy that looks over and says, "Hey, it could be worse. It could be snowing." you know, this ain't all that bad. Look at the fun we're having. We get to play in mud and we get paid for this. So you put it in a different mindset. And I thought the same thing with cancer. And I'm like, yeah, it's a private journey and it sucks, but at the same time, I'm going to laugh at it. I'm going to make fun of it. Like I told everybody, I said, "Hey, my hair falls out." And one of the comments I got from a lady, she goes, "You look like Woody Harrelson." And I'm like, "I'll take it. I'll take it. It's because of the big nose. Oh, I got this." I said,
Oh.
so cancer helped me out. My hair fell out and it made my nose look bigger. Great. So I'm
That's
going to laugh
funny.
at it every
That is
step of the
funny.
way. Yeah. It's one of those things where you have to learn to laugh at it, and I put a face on it, and I go to town on it. And it's one of those things. I have gotten some crazy reactions, because again, you talk about humor and laughter and going through cancer, but I'm telling you, if you can get someone hooked up to whatever treatment they're doing that day, and you can get them to smile and laugh, even if it might be a little vulgar or might be a little off ball or even a little dark, but you get a smile. Smile is a point to go healing, because again, that smile and that laughter, when you're laughing and you're smiling, you forget about pain, you forget about all the sorrows. Like you said, you have a million decisions you have to make, and sometimes you got to give yourself a damn break. Laugh, take a few minutes and just laugh. Do something that's going to make you laugh. Watch comedy skits, watch comedy shows. Come up with your own skits. They're out there. And you just, I think it's something that is so often overlooked when people get into cancer, and then you start getting into this journey, and you start getting, a lot of people get very sullen, very sad, and very dark, and very, it gets kind of gloomy, and it is scary. And again, I take a sense for, I might be scared to death, but like I said last week, when death looks at me and smiles, I'm going to look right him in the face, and I'm going to smile and laugh back at him and be like, "Bring it. Let's do this. Party." And that's
Love
the
it.
mentality that I've had. And that's the mentality that's got me through it. But that sense of humor, it may not be for everybody, but I promise you it's there. Use it. Get a sense of humor. There's no reason why, suffering in mass. Oh, I can come up with a lot of funny material, you know? So embrace that suffering, embrace it as a journey and part of it, but inject humor in there. Have fun with it. Like I think Shawshank Redemption, it's like the almost overused line, but uh, something about along the lines of, laugh and keep laughing because you're never going to get out alive, something like that, So have fun with it. Don't let it beat you. Don't let it take that soul, that person that you are, away, because you're an amazing person. So don't let it take it from you. Smile when you need to smile. There's going to be times to laugh. There's going to be times to cry. But I'd rather have more laughing than crying any day of the week. And crying because I'm
Absolutely.
laughing so hard, I'm peeing my pants. So
That's great. I do have one question for you, and this is a different topic.
okay,
So you have openly shared that you were in prison. How
yes,
were you able to keep your mental faculties while in prison and allow you to move forward after you got out?
that came from resiliency, and it came from one of those things where you have to, we all make mistakes, And, my mistakes, I didn't address issues with my mental health, with traumatic brain injury and PTS. I had, 2 decades of warfare. Um, and when I do say 2 decades, I mean heavily downrange, more time downrange than I had at home. So that comes with a lot of baggage. And no matter how much you try to not bring that war home, it's going to come home, and it's like a cancer. It's going to infect everything. So I had to address that, and I had to take a good hard look. And one of the things, two things that have a similarity between combat and prison is humble. You're going to get humbled real quick. And then you're going to take a deep, dark look inside of you and figure out, you're going to learn a lot of things. And I used that. And the crazy thing was, when I got released, within a short period after being released, that's when I got the cancer diagnosis. So it's one of those things where it was like, most people could sit there and say, man, I had to deal with this, I had to deal with that, I just get released, I have my freedom, and now all of a sudden, boom. And I didn't see it
Wow.
that way. I looked at it as, you know what? I had the mindset that, okay, Afghanistan, Iraq, and other places, that didn't kill me. Prison dang sure didn't kill me. This is not happening. I'm not dealing with you now, And it's one of those things where I came out and I had a whole new outlook on life. I wanted to get back to my community. I wanted to help people. I finally had answers in a struggle that I had been struggling with my TBI and PTS, to where I liked the guy looking at me in the mirror. I liked who I was. I liked where I was at. So because of that, I wasn't going to allow cancer to take that from me. My journey of self-healing, yeah, it was a blow. It was a devastating blow. But at the same time, I had to step back and go, you know what? I have a lot of worth. I have too much that I have to do. I have so much that I'm going to accomplish. And damn it, come hell or high water, this thing may win. But I'm going out with my boots on. I'm going to have a smile on my face. And it may beat me in this aspect, but I'm going to wind up beating it in the afterlife too. So either way, I'm beating this thing. Whether it takes me or I take it, one of us is going to come out on top. And either way, that's going to be me. And I just had that mindset. So,
I love that. Love that. How important to you is that mirror that you're looking at?
oh man, that I wasn't prepared for that. That was, I might get a little emotional on this one, because that was one of the most powerful moments of my life, was facing the mirror, facing my demons, and facing that. And it's something that I tell people, whether it's cold water therapy, whether it is meditation and prayer and stuff like that. One of my go-tos is in the mirror, looking in the mirror and having that conversation and telling yourself, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you can do this, you got this, you're going to kick this cancer's ass 3 ways from sundown. But sorry, I'm a Marine. So, but yeah, I look at the mirror, and there was days where, like I said, when my hair was falling out and my eyebrows fell out, you know, and I'm kind of pale. I mean, I remember my mother, when I talked to her on the phone, we did a video thing, and I saw the reaction. I saw her body language. I saw her reaction, and I knew I looked discerning. I looked sick, and I'm looking in the mirror going, "You're sick, but you're sexy looking six," and you got to get that humor going. And I'm like, okay, so all my other hair's growing, but my beard's staying, and it's got that beard. So you're a distinguished looking now. And I had to pep talk myself in the mirror. And I learned to love the other guy on that other side of that mirror. And I learned to love the fact that I can face myself. And in facing myself, having that internal fight with yourself, to where it's a pep talk for you, a private, personal pep talk with you. I don't care if you're singing and dancing in front of the mirror, making fun of yourself. Embrace it. Get to know that person looking back at you, and know that person intimately, and tell each other every day, you're the best thing I've ever seen. We're going to make this work. And it sounds so corny and cheesy, but I'm telling you, I can't put into words the power that it gives you, to when you can sit there and literally pep talk yourself, and you can give yourself the motivation you need, even when maybe you're not getting it elsewhere. I mean, every situation's unique. Like when I got my cancer diagnosis, I didn't have a lot of friends here. Most of my friends, unfortunately, are no longer with us, and that's a whole other story. My family is back east. I don't have anybody here. It's just me in LA. I'm up, and when you're sitting in that room and they tell you have cancer, and I've never felt so alone in my life. So I had to look at me in the mirror, and I had to come with terms with this, going, "Hey, you're alone, but we don't have to be. We gotta find a tribe. We gotta move forward on this." So again, talking in the mirror, I had to pep talk myself into getting out there and being more open with people and connecting with people that were going through the same journey. And
Man,
there was several ways.
that
So,
what a fantastic answer that was. I love that, John. Thank you so
I
much.
wasn't prepared for that question.
I wasn't either.
I was like, oh man, I don't cry, don't cry.
It's okay. Hey, I've had people cry so many times I can't even count them, but that's good because you know when you share openly, it's very therapeutic and it really helps. You know, it'll help others, but it also helps
Yes.
you. I mean, the person that my channel helps the most is me. I just love to do this and I love sharing stories and I love meeting new people who come into my life and enrich my life, which is priceless. Absolutely
Yeah,
priceless.
like I met some of the people I met on this journey. I go through the VA, and at the oncology department at the VA. Unfortunately, there's a lot of veterans in there. It's impacting a lot of veterans, even in my age group. So, but I go in there and I'm like, you kind of build that tribe in there, and I'm like, we're the C team. I remember the old '80s flick, the A team. I'm like, we're the C team. And you get that thing going, and you get it laughed in, and it's you had to look at it in that aspect. But I found a new tribe that were like-minded people that were going through the same thing. Um, and more of the people I've met through the LinkedIn platform and other platforms that had fought cancer or struggling with cancer. Um, wow. I mean, some of the people I meet, I'm just like, damn, you were awesome. I could learn so much from them. But even some people that ask me questions, and I'm like, you want to know my vision or my personal thing, and I shared with them, and then I get this long post, and they're telling me how much I meant to them and how much they did to them, and about halfway through I'm trying to play this big tough Marine. I'm crying. I'm just like a mess, going, this person actually, not only did I help them, but they think this highly of me, and I'm just like, wow, I didn't see that coming, and all I want to do is give them a big hug and say, man, I don't thank you, you're helping me now. And it's that mutual, and it just keeps going, and it gets better and better and better. And they always talk about when people ring the bell, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good part. But I think the best part is when, you see that person a couple of months later, like when they get their hair back and they get their health back. And, you see some of these women who come back and they have their hair and you're like, wow, you are a hottie. So, and it's such a boost to them. They have this glow to their face. Like, we call it in the military, your alive day. In other words, you look back at the day that, hey, I could have been going to Arlington that day. And you celebrate that day, but you celebrate it with a smile, and you're like, hey, man, it's my alive day. And I think cancer patients and those of us going through this journey need to put that in our mind. So that day we get that, you're in remission. That's your alive day. Now, what are you going to do? Now you got to keep going. Stick with that diet, stick with that routine, stick with what was working, but live and live hard. Get out there and enjoy yourself and smile and laugh and love. I promise you'll be a better person for it.
I usually end each interview asking if for a final comment, but as far as I'm concerned, you already gave it, John. I mean, that last segment was spectacular. So thank you so much for
Oh,
joining us again here. It's been an absolute honor and a blessing. So
no,
I
thank
really,
you.
really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Uh, I like to end each interview with a couple of quotes. And today, the first one is growth begins when we start to accept our own weakness. And this is by Jean Vanier. And the second one is to dream of the person you would like to be is to waste the person you are. And that's from an anonymous source. So thank you so much for joining us here at To Be Your Own Hero. And let's help make this world a better place. Let's all do our share, make an effort to help make somebody else's day better. And because every day is precious, every day is beautiful, every day is a blessing, and make the most out of every single day, every single hour, every single minute. And thank you so much once again for joining us here at the Be Your Own Hero. Please subscribe, like, make a comment in the comment section, and we will see you next week. Have an incredible week. And thank you so much again, John. And thank you to everyone. We'll see you next time on To Be Your Own Hero.